And we are rolling, baby, with the Long Balls Golf Podcast. Dr. Jake Berman here, the originator, the founder of the Berman Method of Golf Performance, where we help you move better so you can hit the ball further, strike the ball more consistently, and play more frequently, even if you're getting older, especially for those golfers over the age of 60. The body just does not move the way that it used to. You're starting to lose distance. You're starting to lose consistency. You're starting to think about, is this the beginning of the end? Is this the death spiral of my golf game? I'm going to talk to you today about 3 outrageous things that amateur golfers do in attempt to improve their game. Chances are, if you're listening to this, you are guilty of at least one of them. But before we get into all that, I want to give a quick heads up. We have been working tirelessly on the back end on this brand new membership site that I am really excited about. My team is all jacked up about it too, where we are building out this really extensive, thorough, simple to use membership site that is going to be filled with countless resources to help every single aspect of your game. Videos on everything from grip to putting to chipping to driving to irons to mental game to physical training to getting the body prepared. It is going to be amazing. So get excited. Keep opening up the emails, looking for notices on our socials. It is coming any day now. We're getting so close for a soft launch on this because we've got enough done to where we can at least have a viable product, so minimum viable product. We've got that, so we're going to be launching that any day as we're continuing to build out the rest of it. Super excited about this, so keep your eyes open for it. Listen and get on the early bird special. It will be a very low price point for all the early adopters out there. So get ready. Moving forward, I'm going to go ahead and just mention the 3 outrageous things that amateur golfers do in an attempt to improve their game. And I'm going to briefly explain or mention them, and then I'm going to go into a lot of detail on all 3 of them. Because when you first hear them, you're going to probably say, that's not me. That's not me at all. But once I start to give you the details and really explain what it means to be guilty of this, you might start to second guess it. And you actually might start to say, you know what? I actually do that. I am guilty of that. So right out of the gate, real quick, the top 3 things that the most outrageous top 3 things that amateur golfers do in an attempt to improve their game is, number 1, you swing harder. I'm guilty of this, or I was very guilty of this. This was one of the biggest things I was guilty of. Number 2 is try to increase your your shoulder turn by trying to get the club back as far as you possibly can. Number 3, bang balls on the driving range with no rhyme or reason, no clear thought process, no strategic mental plan on what it is that you're working on. So let's go into detail on all 3 of these things because, again, chances are if you're listening to this, you're guilty of at least one of these things. Number 1, swinging harder. I was so guilty of this. It was driving me nuts. I'll humbly say that, I'm athletic. There has not been a sport that I've run into in my entire life that I couldn't just watch you do it and then go reproduce it or repeat it and actually be somewhat decent at it. I was just that athletic. So when I picked up golf, I'm like, this is going to be easy. Because I remember playing with my buddy Travis from college. We're roommates in college, and he's a very good golfer, a high school golfer, went to college for soccer. But anyways, he drug me to the driving range, and I just remember watching him absolutely stripe the golf ball with an iron. I believe it was a 7-iron or something. And the sound, the sound it makes when you absolutely stripe it. And he was making it look so effortless. And I'm just watching him going, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake. until I go and try to reproduce it. And it was obviously a complete disaster. Don't need to go into much detail. We're all golfers, or at least we're at least hackers, if not golfers. We know what it's like to just get started, and it was a disaster. So fast forward a couple of years of trying to grind it out and trying to get better. I found myself working so hard to get a 7-iron just to go 140 yards when my buddies, who were not even close to as athletic as I was, or even in as good a shape that I was in at the time in college, I was in my peak physical performance as far as physique goes. And they're crushing a 7-iron, 180, 190 yards, and I'm going, why is mine only going 140 yards? Because I was using all of the wrong muscles. I mean, this is what Berman Golf was founded on. Was the aha moment for me was once I was able to actually use my core and my glutes and my body the way that I should, the distance went through the roof almost instantaneously. 20 yards right out of the gate, 30 yards off the driver. I mean, back in the day, I was lucky to hit a drive 275 yards in play. Now it's consistently over 300, usually in play. Well, I guess asterisk, right? I've got kids right now, so I don't get to play a whole lot. So for complete transparency, when I go through droughts, that's not always the case. However, when I'm in a rhythm and I play consistently, then it's consistently 300 in play, 300 plus in play. I mean, and I'm not even trying as hard. So trying harder to get the golf ball to go further is one of the most common mistakes that amateur golfers make, and it's because you don't know how to use your body the right way. Now, here's what makes it even more frustrating, because I'm actually going through this right now with Case, our PGA pro. He's coaching me on how to get better from a technical standpoint. Because again, like I said 10 minutes ago, I've always been an athlete, so just go out there and figure it out. So yes, I've improved my game significantly on my own. However, if you look at it from a technical standpoint, it's not even close to optimized. So Case has been helping me work on my technique, and what I found is when I start to use better technique and better form, better golf form, it's really hard for me to hit the golf ball. And the results are usually very, very bad in our training sessions. And Case just bluntly says, he says that he goes, there's really nothing that I can tell you to fix from a technical standpoint right now, because technique-wise, you're doing really well. The problem is you just don't know how to hit the golf ball with this new technique. And it took a while for that to set in, but it makes perfect sense now, meaning that I learned how to hit the golf ball doing the wrong things. This is that saying, make sure you get golf lessons before you develop bad habits. This is that to a T. I figured out how to hit the golf ball using my arms and my hands and flipping at it with a lot of force behind it to get a really good result. Or I shouldn't say really good result, a halfway decent result, because, it's all relative, right? So I got really good at making contact with the golf ball using bad technique. So now when I start using quote unquote good golf technique, my brain just does not know how to deliver the club head to the golf ball. And from a superficial level, I'm like, this does not make sense. But when you get into a neurological level, what's happening internally, it makes perfect sense. It's neuromuscular reeducation, retraining your brain how to use the muscles you already have to get an outcome. So here's where people go wrong. Here's where every amateur goes wrong, or at least 99% of amateurs go wrong, is when you're improving your technique, you've got to take the results out of the equation. You just have to be okay with really crappy results in the short term, because it's going to take time when you're focusing on the process and not the results. You have to focus on the process. When you focus on the process, the results take care of themselves. So what I've started doing is when I'm in the training room, in our simulator room, I won't even turn the simulator on. Won't even turn it on. And I'll just hit 20 or 30 balls, focusing on this new technique that I'm working on. Because I know that as soon as I turn that simulator on, my brain switches gears to, wow, that was a shank. That was a massive, massive shank. What did I do wrong? And it's not that I did something as wrong as much as I just didn't know how to hit the golf ball doing what I was doing. So it's something that takes time, and this is very frustrating for golfers, especially aging golfers, because a lot of my clients are like, how much time do I really have left to make a significant change in my swing? And my answer is always this: how serious do you want to be about this? How much do you want to get better? Do you plan on dying in the next year? Because if you don't plan on dying in the next year, why don't you plan on being better a year from today than you are right now? Because so many people are used to Amazon Prime, and it's like, I want to be better today. I went to a golf lesson today. I want to be able to go out and play this afternoon and shave 5 strokes. That is not the way that it works. It just isn't. It's not true with golf at all. It might be true with some other sport. It is not true with golf. So again, think about that. If you don't plan on dying in the next year, why don't you plan on being better a year from now than you are right now? Because to the day you die, your body has the ability to generate more strength, more flexibility. There's no reason why you can't be stronger and more mobile, more athletic, and more efficient with the golf club a year from now than you are right now. So the number one most outrageous thing that amateur golfers do in attempts to improve their golf game is they swing harder, not smarter. That's why we developed this membership site. We're going through 5th grade reading level, elementary, easy to understand, informative videos, step by step, on how you use your body and not your hands and your arms to flip at the golf ball. Number 2, this one drives me absolutely nuts, is if I could just increase my shoulder turn, then I could generate more club head speed and the ball will go farther. So I've got all of these 75, sometimes 80-year-old golfers trying to wrap the damn club around their neck, straightening their back leg, their back knee so that they can get turned even further, which creates this massive reverse pivot or weight shift onto the front leg at the top of the backswing. The club shaft is almost at parallel, if not at parallel, at the top of the backswing. The left elbow is bent all to crap. And then it's like, okay, where do you go from there? Yes, the club is way further back than it was. But now you have to undo everything that you did to get there just to get back to the golf ball. And it does not make sense. So every single person that's ever come to me, specifically over the age of 60, who says, I want to increase my shoulder turn, I say, why? Well, then I would generate more club head speed. I say, okay, why do you want more club head speed? And they go, because I want the ball to go farther. And I said, that is just not true. It's not true. I've gone on record multiple times over the history of this podcast. I've written a freaking book with pages and pages explicitly showing you how it is not true. It is not fact. It is not a law that the faster your club head speed, the further the ball is going to go. This is the exact opposite of what the PGA Association of America has you believe, because they say, on the Golf Channel, for every 1 mile an hour club head speed you gain, the ball is going to go 2.8 yards further. That may be very, very true if you're 20 or 30 years old and you've got the flexibility of Gumby and the technique of Rory when he's not choking, right, at the U.S. Open. I mean, that might be very, very true. It is not true for 70-year-old Bob that practices maybe 1 hour a week. It's not true. It's not even true for 70-year-old Bob that practices 10 hours a week. It is not true because the laws of physics say so. They are laws of physics. There's a reason why there's 11 billion golf techniques. There's a reason why you go on YouTube and you Google how to increase club head speed. 11 billion people pop up with different techniques and philosophies. There's a reason why DeChambeau is a student of the game. He's constantly studying because he's looking at it from a scientific approach, not a technological approach. That's why he's so vastly different than everybody else, because the vast majority of the other golfers, they're relying on techniques, sound golf technique. Bryson is studying the science behind it, the physics. So think about it. It's not true when you're 70 years old. If you swing the club faster, the ball's not going to go farther because of the laws of physics. If you don't believe me, look at my book. Go to chapter, I think it's 4. Don't hold me to that. I haven't opened it up in a couple of weeks. But go to the chapter that explicitly states that you have a momentum-based equation and then a power-based equation. When you're using momentum to swing the golf club, speed is very, very important. Problem is, as you get older, you lose speed and you decrease the weight of the club that you're swinging. So if you have less speed and less weight behind that speed, the only option on planet Earth, because of the laws of physics, is the ball's not going to go farther. And even if you increase your speed by 1 or 2 miles an hour, it's not significant enough because of the decrease in the weight of the club you're swinging. So it's irrelevant. When you go over to the power equation, you start using muscles, the big power muscles, your body, to swing the golf club, speed almost becomes irrelevant because of how significant the muscles are in that equation. When you use muscles, it almost makes speed irrelevant. The example that you can always use is ballistics. I mean, it's so simple to use ballistics. Or, I guess not a lot of people know ballistics. So think of a Mack truck, right? A big 18-wheeler truck running into a brick wall. That thing could be going 20 miles an hour and run straight through a brick wall. The brick wall is the solid object, right? But then you take a little tiny Honda or Honda Accord or Civic, whatever, and that thing could be going 100 miles an hour and barely even make a dent in the brick wall. So the speed in this equation is irrelevant unless you have the power behind it. So that's why the most common thing that we see in our golf performance programs is that in the first couple of weeks, we have an increase of 10 yards with the 7-iron with a maximum increase of 1 mile an hour club head speed. It's that simple. It's the law of physics that because we're using more muscles, more power is being generated, more power is being delivered into the golf ball. So the only option on planet Earth is for that golf ball to go farther. It's that simple. Because if you look at the equation from the Golf Channel, if your club head speed only increased 1 mile an hour, you should only gain 2.8 yards, not 10 yards. So it just doesn't make sense from a technological standpoint. That's why it's all science. It's all physics. Third, last but not least, this is one of the 3 top most outrageous things that amateur golfers trying to do to get better. you go to the driving range and you hit balls on the driving range. Now, there's a difference between going to the driving range to work on your game with a solid plan of attack and then just going to the driving range and banging balls and thinking that you're working on something 30 minutes before your tee time, or maybe an hour before your tee time, thinking you're going to fix something an hour before your tee time, and then you go and you play around. No. If you're going to go to the driving range to improve your game, you do not play golf afterwards. You specifically, intentionally go to the driving range to work on something. Not a bunch of things. You work on something. It's ball striking with the irons. It's your wedge play. It's chipping. It's putting. It's your driver. Whatever it is, you have to have a plan. You have to be methodical about it. Now, here's the thing that almost everybody gets wrong. Tempo of hitting golf balls. So many people go on the driving range to work on something. You have the right plan, you just don't execute it the right way. You hit a ball, and it's almost before the ball even lands, you're setting up the next ball, getting ready to do rapid fire. So people, it's not uncommon for golfers on the driving range to hit 2 to 4 balls within 60 seconds. And the thing that you have to understand about going to the driving range is that you can learn just as much from your bad shots as you can from your good shots. So pay attention to this, because I said right at the beginning, there's going to be some of you that hear these top 3 outrageous things and you're going to immediately say, nope, that's not me. I don't do this. Here's how I know you're guilty. Because I've seen it almost 100% of the time in my office, in the simulator room, and when I'm on the driving range. As soon as you hit a bad ball, it is the fastest you reload and get ready to hit again. Now, here's what you should be doing. As soon as you shank a ball, just stay there. Hold the finish. Hold the pose. And think about what just happened. Why did that just happen? What did I do differently on that one? What does this feel like? Did I rush the backswing, or did I do it nice and fluid? Did I get sloppy at the top of the backswing? Did my left elbow bend? Did I try to bring my hands towards the ball, or did I try to rotate my body? Did I not close the club face enough? I just left it hanging out there because I didn't finish the swing, or I wasn't thinking about it. Was I not thinking about hitting down on the golf ball? Whatever it is. Stand there in your hold. If you can't hold, that's a whole different topic right there. If you can't hold your finish pose, hold it there and think about, what did you just do wrong? Learn from the bad shots. How many times do we stripe a golf ball, like absolutely smoke it, and just hold the finish pose and just be like, man, that felt so good. And you're just holding it there, watching it fly through the air. It's soaring. It's going high. It's going far. It's doing the shot shape that you want. And you're like, man, that felt so good. And then it lands pretty much where you wanted it to land. And you're like, man, that felt good. But then as soon as we shank a ball, hook a ball, top a ball, chunk it, we grab another ball and tee it up real quick and try to do it again. It's like, no. Think about it. Hold the finish. Hold the pose. What did you feel? What did you do? Debrief. Because your brain will start to learn faster if you start to think and learn from the bad shots just as much as you do from the good shots. And then the obvious thing should be practice like you play. When you're out playing around a golf, it is very rare that you hit 2 golf shots quicker than 60 seconds apart. Think about it. You drive the golf ball or you drive it off the tee, and then you have 3 other players that need to drive it. Then you drive to your ball, and you may be first, you may be second. It's usually somewhere between 2 and 6 minutes before you hit the next golf ball. Maybe 6 might be a long time. 2 and 4 minutes minimum before you hit the next golf ball. So if we're on the driving range and you shank a ball in the driving range, take 2 minutes to think about it. Take 2 minutes to do a practice drill, to get into the backswing and hold that position. Initiate the downswing. Think about what you're feeling. Practice it for 2 minutes, then go attempt to hit another golf ball. So that's all I have for you today. Those are the 3 most outrageous things that amateur golfers do in an attempt to improve your golf game. And it's probably the big driver behind us creating this membership site. Is there's so many things that we can do wrong. If we just pick a handful of things that we do right and then minimize how bad we do the wrong things, our golf game can improve so much. And the last thing I'll leave you with is something I said 20 minutes ago or so. If you don't plan on dying in the next year, I don't care how old you are. You could be 30, you could be 80. If you don't plan on dying in the next year, why not plan on being better a year from today than you are right now? Because it's so much more rewarding when you're better than when you're not. It's that simple. So smash the like button, subscribe to this, share this with your buddy that you know wraps the damn club around their neck thinking they're increasing club head speed to get the ball to go farther, and it's just not true. Share this with your buddy who goes to the driving range and just bangs ball after ball thinking that they're getting better, just to say, yeah, I was at the range 2 hours a day. It's almost like a bragging thing. And then share it with somebody that you know just swings so freaking hard, just working so hard, and they're not getting the return. This podcast is for them. Till next time, thank you.